Hello and welcome to another episode of Hessy and Maven. I am Justin.
I'm Raven.
And this week's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about a kind of recent Netflix documentary called Sins of My Mother. Kind of goes over the killings of Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow. Really sad story. Lots of kookiness and religious culty kind of behavior, but we'll get into it. Raven watched them first, I watched them second, and then I took a smorgasbord of notes.
Yeah, it's a really good documentary on Netflix. It's horrendously sad, obviously, because it's children dying. Oh, hello, Olive.
Olive's in here. Hello, Olive.
Which is
oh, Jesus. Spit on my feet. Gross.
That was a grand entrance from my child, Olive. Hi, honey.
She's a little frisky.
Anyway, yeah, it's a really good documentary. It is very sad. If you get really upset by children, like violence against children, I would maybe skip it. But
yeah, it
is really interesting. I think it's got a lot of red herrings. I didn't feel like there were red herrings. Maybe it's because I kind of know the story a little bit because it happened in our lifetime. I know it too.
This happened in like 2019. Yeah. Mostly. I mean, obviously there's stuff leading up to it, but mostly in 2019. Mm-hmm. I don't know. For me, there were not as many red herrings. I'd be very interested to hear.
Okay.
I took extensive notes, so I'm going to be giving us a play-by-play. The other important thing to know, spoilers. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, for
heads up for that. So if you're like really looking forward to watching it and you don't want to know a play-by-play.
Yeah, wait till after you watch it to listen to it.
Yeah, listen to this episode another time.
But there is a few things I wanted to talk about
some housekeeping items.
Before we go into the Sins of Our Mother. I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts that I listen to on repeat as like background noise now, Hey Babe, just before this. And it was the episode where Sal talks about his list of his most hated things.
Yeah.
And his list is sweat, traffic, common cold, especially common cold on vacation, strong winds, pointy objects, cats, and general filth. Wow. And I thought it was interesting, and I was wondering if you've ever thought about things that might make your list of, like, most hated things.
Oh, gosh.
Have you ever thought about it?
Well, that makes me feel like his list of most hated things is comparable to, like, icks. You know how, like, an ick is, like, it's, like, a small red flag, but it's kind of, like, a meaningless red flag? It's on that Seinfeld level of, like... Yeah. It's not like, oh, they're abusive. I think that's an ick. They lie always. That's an ick. They cheat on me. Like, those aren't icks. Those are, like, legitimate
major
like, concerns.
Problems. Yeah. No, like, his are, like, traffic.
Yeah, his seem kind of, like,
strong wind.
Silly.
Yeah, just things that he hates.
Like, so things like that, man. I hate a buzzing bug.
Yep.
If a bug buzzes, I don't like it.
I hate that, too.
I hate sweating. Mm-hmm. Right now, I'm dying. I, like... Love your cardigan. I love it matches your headband and your new earrings.
Thank you.
Ghostess with the mostess. Mm-hmm. I wanted to wear a sweatshirt for the sake of this may potentially be the first video podcast that we put online.
Yes.
I couldn't fucking do it. I can't fake it.
That's fine.
Like I will actually die.
Yeah.
Which is a real shame.
Sweating is terrible.
I hate summer. I hate everything about summer.
Summer. I made a list of 5 of my most hated things right now. They change, I feel like. Yeah. Summer is on there.
Oh, I hate summer. I hate it so much.
I hate summer. I honestly feel like, I know people have like seasonal depression. I feel like I have reverse seasonal depression where like when it gets hot and sunny every day, I'm like so... Does she want to get out?
I think Josie might want to come in.
Oh.
Man, having dogs, I'll tell you what. It is just a joy. I hate repeating myself.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I hate repeating myself, man. I'll like say something. Hey mom, do you think you could... And she'll be like, what? And I'll just be like, never mind.
Yeah, I know.
Like, no matter how important it was, it's not important now.
Yeah.
Just absolutely forget it.
No, I feel that. That can get annoying fast. Summer is definitely on mine. I feel like when it's hot and sunny every day, I become like miserable and grumpy because I hate being hot. I hate sweating. And I don't want to be outside. So I feel like I'm just trapped inside.
Josie's looking out the window.
We're just watching Josie look out the window and she's getting ready to bark. I can feel it in my bones.
She's going to see a leaf move. Josie. Josie. Jojo. You know better. Come on. Lay down, babe. I don't like it when dogs bark.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That drives me nuts. I went through a long phase right after college where I like legit disliked dogs.
Yeah.
Not, everyone calm down. Not like actually.
Yeah.
It was just dogs barking. Because they bark at everything. And it depends on the dog, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But like, they bark a lot and they bark at seemingly nothing. And they rarely stop.
Yeah.
Or at least
it's
all
hard
of the
to get them
dogs
to
I've
stop.
always been around are like that. And I hate that. It's the most annoying thing. It makes me want to... It's one of the reasons I'm a cat person.
Yeah.
I love dogs.
Yeah.
Cats inch them out.
Because of the barking?
With a big inch, yeah.
Yeah. I feel that. I've heard of... They told me when I adopted Olive at the vet... not at the vet. At the shelter that some pit bulls get their vocal cords cut. Like, they'll cut their vocal cords so that they don't bark, which is so sad.
No. I hate when people do anything to dogs like that. Cropping their ears, snipping their tails.
Yep.
Any of that shit. Like, you're an awful fucking person. You have no idea what they actually go through.
I know.
Because they're rarely under any kind of anesthesia or anything. It's not like this painless. It's not like plastic surgery for people. That's not how this is worked. Like,
it's so sad.
It's so sad.
Can I tell you my other things that I hate?
Yes, of course.
Ketchup.
Oh, put it on the list. Put it on the list. My text.
Hate ketchup.
My Discord group with Luna and Allie, where the logo is a bottle of ketchup with an X through it, and we're the no ketchup team.
It's so I don't even like. I smell ketchup, and I'm like,
ketchup team or crew? It should be crew because of the alliteration, but
yeah, it's
that doesn't
ketchup
matter
is
right now, but
ketchup is so disgusting. I
vile.
also don't like mayonnaise. Which I know you love,
ketchup.
and once in a while, I will appreciate an aioli. Which I know is just mayonnaise.
Yeah, it's just a flavored mayonnaise.
Which is why I didn't add it to the list.
Oh, God.
But ketchup is on there.
Okay.
When people lick their finger to separate money.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Okay, old people at the pharmacy do that all the time. And they're like
really funny.
Disgusting old people. Like, they're like decrepit zombies, and they like can't separate their money.
Jojo?
And they come.
I swear to God.
I know.
Son of a bitch. Cool it.
And they come to the pharmacy, and they can't get their money separated, and they just do a big like, and then separate their money, and then give it to me, and I have to grab their saliva money,
Soggy
and I'm like,
money.
oh my God, why did you do that? When they can't do it, I want to be like, give it to me. Give me all your money. I'll take out the right amount.
Jeez.
Don't lick your finger.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
Jojo? I swear to God, Jojo, you're going to ruin this.
I know.
If I wasn't videotaping, I could just pause it and we could figure things out. But
I know, honey, you need to stop. Josie, come here.
Lay down, babe. You're all right. There's no one there. Right?
Yeah.
There's no one there. So, cool it.
Old men over the age of 65.
Yeah.
Now, this is going to be controversial because I'm sure
it?
someone listening has a delightful grandfather.
Oh, but
We have a pretty delightful grandfather.
yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
He's good.
This is one of those things where the majority wins out for me. Like, the majority are the problem.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
There is a minority that I do recognize, but the majority, they are the main problems at my job at the pharmacy. Mm-hmm. They're 90% of the issues.
Yeah, for sure.
Yesterday, I learned about this man who I won't name at the pharmacy, who he comes all the time. Mm-hmm. He's very, very, very hard of hearing.
Okay.
And I have trouble talking to him because I can't be 5 inches from someone's face yelling without cracking up laughing.
Right.
Like, because I'm just Are you going to try it?
I am gonna try it, but I'm interested by the way the cap opens. It has like the little pull tab.
If you're not watching, I got this. What is it?
Peach white ale brewed with Yamanashi peaches.
Yeah.
By Hokkaido Brewing.
I often, when I'm at the liquor store, see alcohol. Like little individual bottles of beer that sound interesting to me, but I think beer is disgusting, so I get them so that Jesse can try them and then tell me if they're good. It
had a pull top.
Okay.
That was really cool.
Fancy. Now try it. Tell us how it is, and then I can get back to my story. I hope it's not disgusting.
It's so good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
If there was a beer you liked, this might be it. Do you like peaches? It's super peach heavy.
Okay.
Do you want to try it?
Okay.
God, all these. You're not going to love it, but I think peachy. It's so peach heavy.
Oh, wow. It's almost like a peach seltzer.
It's way better than you thought,
or like
right?
A peach cider.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is way better than I thought. So that's good. Exciting. Okay, so back to my story.
Joe.
Unless JoJo has anything to say about it.
She's just over there.
Josie, come here, honey.
She's going.
Just stop. You're okay. Okay, so this man.
She protects the house.
He can't.
Continue.
He can't hear. You're 5 inches from his face, and you have to scream in his face to get him to hear you. They told me yesterday that one time last year he came to get his medicine and his medicine wasn't ready, and he like went crazy. He got so mad.
Yeah.
And he started yelling like, "I'm telling you right now, if I don't get this medicine, I'm going to open my I forget what it's called, like colostomy bag?
Colostomy bag?
Colostomy bag?
Yeah, the bag that you poop in.
The bag that you poop in. He said, I'm going to open it and I'm going to dump it all over the fucking floor. And everyone at the pharmacy was like,
we'll do whatever you want.
Don't do that.
We will do whatever you want,
and
sir.
They told me
the
pharmacist called his doctor to be like, approve this medicine or else. And the doctor was like, yeah, that pretty much tracks. He pulled a gun on me a couple months ago.
What the fuck?
He's like 100 years old.
Honestly, I'd take the gun over the poop bag. Is really what it comes down to, I think.
Yeah, and he's still...
Either way, terrible person.
I see he faced no consequences for either of those things because he still comes to the pharmacy all the time. And I have to yell at him all the time.
What a piece of shit.
Hello, sir! What's your phone number? Like, that's the conversations we have every time.
Hello, sir.
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing?
Okay.
Goodness gracious.
Let me see if there's anything else I didn't mention on my list. Oh, smelling bad. Smelling bad is one of my biggest fears. I'm very afraid of smelling bad. I keep deodorant with me all the time. There's deodorant in my room, my bag, my car, and my work. Mm. There have been times where I've forgotten to put on deodorant, and I will buy deodorant in that scenario because I can't not be wearing deodorant in public. Yeah. Because I can't be the person who walks past somebody and they look at their friend and be like, did you fucking smell it?
Yeah, they do a double take.
Yeah. I can't be that person. I don't like when sometimes I'll walk into my room and it'll smell a little bit too much like dog. Mm. And I'm like, everything has to be cleaned. Everything has to be swept, Febrezed, washed. Like, I can't be the person who smells weird.
I feel that.
I can't.
And it's so... Sometimes I always think about the entire concept of going nose deaf.
Yeah.
Or smell deaf or whatever, where you just, like, you're so... You know, like, I used to smoke weed a lot.
Yeah.
That happens all the time. You know what I mean? You're smoking weed and you're surrounded by this weed smell, but I don't personally smell it.
That's interesting.
Then you go inside a house or something like that, and your friend, sister, brother, family member, whatever, is like, dude, you reek of weed. Yeah. And you're like, what? You're like, I don't smell it at all. And you're like, that's crazy.
Fascinating to me because the smell of weed for me is so strong.
It is.
Like, no matter
when somebody
what anyone does.
I'll notice it on somebody else.
Yeah.
But when you're in it for so long.
Interesting.
You can't smell it. It's the same thing with, like, God forbid you put on a shirt and you realize that maybe they sat in the wash a little too long.
Yep. That horrible.
When you're pulling it over your head, you're
damn
instantly
smell.
like, what the fuck?
Yep.
And then you're like, well, I have no other clothes. Oh, okay, I'll cologne and body spray and Febreze and I'll do all these things. Mm-hmm. And then you kind of go nose deaf to it and you don't know. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe you still smell musty.
Yeah.
Which is not good.
Yeah. Are you the type of person that if one of your friends came up to you and was like, do I smell like body odor? You would be like, yes.
If they asked explicitly, 100%.
Are you going to put your face in their armpit?
No, I'm not going to put my face in their armpit.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that either.
No. Because if only your armpit smells, that's different. I think if... You know what I'm saying?
Well, I feel like if armpit
I have
smells,
to put my nose in your armpit to smell the BO, that's not that bad.
I feel like if my armpit smells, if I walk past you and you get my walking past wind... It's going to smell like body odor.
Are you walking like this? It's really getting everywhere.
No, but I feel like you'd still get it. That's my fear.
I remember in high school, I'm a chronic sweater.
Mm-hmm, me too.
Which is probably why I hate sweating so much. It instantly makes me irritable and just like hard to be around.
I sweat 0 to 60.
Same.
Yep.
Also same. Mm-hmm. I used to raise my hand like this in school.
Yeah.
Because I was too afraid to go all the way up.
Yeah.
Because of pitch stains. And I've been wearing like prescription level hardcore. Actually,
clinical strength. That's what I wear.
Sal Volcano.
Told he wears women's deodorant.
He wears women's deodorant. I started wearing womenn's deodorant. It works like a breeze.
Yeah.
It's secret, baby.
Yeah, I use
Josie.
Secret clinical strength. Josie.
I use like the sport one or something. The one where it's like made for sweating a lot. JoJo, please come on, babe. I know.
It might be our.
You do a good job.
Might be our mom. Oh no.
Oh God.
Okay. So we'll just...
This episode is featuring the dogs, as always.
They're guest stars.
Just be ready for that. Have I ever shown you this? Kathleen Halleck got this for me when she was in Peru.
Oh, no. That's nice. Oh, I like that.
So cute, right?
That's nice.
I love it. I've kept it forever.
I like that sound. That's the sound you want to hear on the top of a mountain in Peru.
It's a beautiful sound.
Yeah.
And it has a little thing that you can put on a necklace. Little hole on the neck.
So you can play that sound on the go?
Whenever I need to.
Whenever you need to. I love that. Okay. Now, I actually have...
Else, or?
Yes, I
didn't realize you had so many.
I have more.
Any housekeeping items you could save till next week?
No.
Okay, bring it on.
They'll have to be right now.
I'm in for it.
Because I don't have anything really to say about the sins of our mother that I wrote down. So
I imagine I'm going to have so much to say you can bounce things off.
I know, but...
Bring
it has
on.
to be now.
Bring it on, come on.
I've been saving this. You mentioned it a little bit earlier, and I didn't say anything because I wanted to save it for the pod for when we were recording.
Okay.
I had my first ever lucid dream.
No fucking way.
Ever.
That's so cool. Okay.
It's never happened to me ever.
Wow.
And it was small and short and ended quick.
Yeah.
But I remember waking up and being like, no fucking way. No way.
It's because we just talked about it.
It's because we talked about it.
Because I'm starting to remember dreams more often.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay,
so,
cool.
What happened was I was sitting at a table, like a little square small table across from our dad.
Yeah.
It was just me and him.
Okay.
And he was like younger. Like he looked like how he looked like when you were probably like in middle school. Like when he still had, I remember he had like black hair.
Brown hair,
like dark hair. It wasn't white gray.
Yeah.
And I was looking at him. This is what I remember from the dream. I was looking at him and I thought, wait, am I dreaming? And I went like this and I swiped my hand across his head and it went right through his body like he was a ghost. And I went, and then I woke up.
Oh my God.
And that was the experience.
That was one of the things.
That was it. That's all that happened. One of the things
was to put your hand through a wall.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's all that happened. And I woke up shook. I was like, there's no way. I just lucid dreamed. Cool. I've never in my life done it.
That's so funny.
Until like a week ago.
That's so funny. Wow.
Crazy. So not like a big lucid dream. Like I know I'm dreaming. I'm controlling.
Well, no.
Whatever.
I feel like that's more rare. But it was like
a realization.
Yeah.
That I've never had before.
I know I'm in a dream.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wild.
There you go. Now you've done it.
Yep.
Wow. Welcome.
Okay. One thing, and then I want to
We're 20 minutes in.
Great. This is the Raven episode, okay? I have a lot to say.
It's cool.
How do you feel about car show people?
I hate them. Let me backtrack a little bit. You're all right. I don't understand you.
Could you date a car show person? If it was their hobby, their ultimate love? You have to go with me to car shows?
How often do I have to go with you to car shows?
Is it the second Thursday of every month?
Ooh, once a month is a lot.
That's when the car show happens in the parking lot of the Dollar Tree.
What kind of... Oh, that's a shitty ass car show. I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about?
Not
on
specifically.
Fisher?
No.
In the Dollar Tree parking lot where the Planet Fitness is. Once a month, there's a car show there.
Wow.
Yep. And people pack into that parking lot.
That's great. What kind of cars?
They put like camping chairs.
Vintagey kind of cars?
Yep.
Is there food and other things, or is it 100% cars?
It's 100% cars and 100% old people sitting in camping chairs talking about their cars. But your partner loves it. And you have to go once a month.
I would, in the beginning, I would be okay.
Okay.
Once it started getting to a point where it was like, listen, Phil, these are the same cars every month. I don't know what more we can learn. There's Harold and his fucking T-Bird. You got fucking Luther and his Ford Model T, whatever.
Arthur.
And Arthur and his fucking convertible. But I mean, that's it. We've seen them. I don't understand what more there is to glean from this.
I think they like to
and
be
they'll
in
say
the
something.
presence
They'll
of the
say
cars.
something like, "Well, I mean, Arthur got a new knob for his stick shift," and I'll go, fall into a lake. Fall into a lake, you piece of shit. Absolutely
I think that's what they like.
No.
Yeah.
If it's something like that where it's the same car show in a local area like that, like small town, because like where we live is like not necessarily like small town.
Yeah, it's smallish.
It's not. What I mean is that it's not like a small little village in like Missouri,
right,
that has 500 people.
Yeah.
But if it were a car show 3 times a year,
that's
and it's
different.
like, you know, because we also live near the beach and stuff like that. So like, you know, like I know people who go to car shows in Long Beach Island, or even like what's that boardwalk even further south? The big one that people go to like after prom. Why can't I think of it?
Wildwood.
Wildwood. People do car shows Wildwood, but they're like yearly.
Yeah.
That is way different.
Okay.
Because you're potentially seeing way different cars every time and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
That I could do. Plus, there's other stuff to do.
Okay. Yeah, like food stalls and vendors.
Plus, it's
like
Wildwood.
Yeah.
Or it's LBI. There's just inherently things to do other than the fucking car show.
They're touristy towns.
Exactly. So it's like...
Yeah, down the street at the Dollar Tree is not...
Hey, have fun. I'm going to go to the Chegg and get some fucking chicken wings.
Yeah.
And I'll see you later. You know, or whatever.
Fair.
I'm going to go to a surf shop and just peruse.
The reason I ask is because someone just messaged me on Tinder and his About Me says, in the summer, I'm usually at a car show or a concert, and I'm not trying to go to any car shows, and I actually don't like concerts, which is another controversial opinion that I have.
Controversial?
Because I feel like unless I'm in the first 10 rows, I might as well just watch it on TV.
Yeah, I feel that.
But that's neither here nor there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not a big concert person either.
Yeah.
Number one, and this is like super controversial. Ready for this? Music, take it or leave it.
Interesting.
I'm so about podcasts and stuff that I just like, or podcasts and audiobooks. I barely listen to music anymore. Yeah. Sometimes I really get into it. Like when we have our little nights.
Yeah.
Where we're just like fucking.
We'll have some drinks and listen to some of our favorite songs.
Raven and I do this really fun thing where on a weekend night where we both don't really have anything planned and we can just chill, we'll both get like pretty blitzed. Yep. And then go back and forth with YouTube on the TV, and she picks a song and I pick a song. She picks a song and I pick a song. And we go back and forth. And we just jam to these different songs, and it's like so much fun. So there are times I do like music. I'm just it's not like I'm not as big into it as I once was. Yeah. But like concerts, Yeah, I don't really care.
Yeah.
I like. Don't get me wrong. There are certain festivals that I would love to do once in my life. Like, what's the Coachella?
Yeah.
One day in my life, if I had the opportunity to go,
Right.
I'm sure it would be awesome.
Yeah.
There are artists that I would love to see and stuff like that, but whatever.
I will say my favorite singer right now is Fletcher, the female artist who just released an album called Girl of My Dreams, which I tried to buy at Target because the CD at Target has 2 extra songs versus if you get it on like Spotify or Apple Music. And I was going to buy it, but it was out of stock.
Wow.
Which was really upsetting. But she is from New Jersey, and she just she performed at a festival in Asbury where the headliner was Stevie Nicks. And I wanted to go so bad, but I had work and I didn't want to pay for the tickets.
Can I really quickly,
please.
speaking of which, at some point in October, there's the New York Comic-Con. Do you want to go? The Critical Role has a panel at like 7 p.m. on one of the nights, and I don't know anything else about it except for my friend Luna brought it up, and I was like, I don't really think I'm going to have anyone to go with. She was
6th
like,
to the 9th.
She was like, why don't you just go by yourself? I've done it before. And I was like, that's not me.
Yeah, I feel you.
I don't do things by myself, really. And I also, the idea of going to New York City by myself and either driving by myself into the city and where the hell am I going to find parking, or also like taking the train into the city by myself and doing the Critical Role thing at late. Well, like, what if I miss the bus or train?
We don't live in an area where public transportation is like required or popular. So having to take it is really
it's new. It feels new. It feels like I'm unprepared. I'm inexperienced.
Yeah.
Like there was in college, I used to take the fucking DC Metro all the time everywhere. But then I moved away and now only time I've ever taken a bus in my entire life has been in Chicago, and it was once or twice, and even then it was scary.
Yeah, I did it once with Alyssa and it was scary.
Yeah.
I only do scary stuff.
I wish I knew it more. I wish I was more comfortable with it and stuff like that. I know that there's like a way to take the train into Penn Station, but I have no idea where Comic-Con is in relation to Penn Station or all these different things.
Yeah.
I also found out recently that the yellow taxis have not only a union, so they treat their employees better and stuff like that than like Uber and stuff.
Yeah.
But they're actually cheaper than Uber.
Oh.
And they have an app where you can call a cab.
Okay.
And they have a more consistent flat rates. Moral of the story. If you're in New York City, yellow taxis.
Fancy.
Yellow cabs. Olive, you can do it, babe.
My poor sweet angel has a lot of trouble getting off of beds.
She has big anxiety about getting up and off
Come
beds.
on, honey, you got it. Okay, and then there's one last thing I want to discuss.
Yeah.
Olive, it's not even that big of a jump. Come on, baby. Okay.
That was literally so easy, Olive.
My apologies. I had to help her.
Big
She's an old lady. That was her saying thank you. Okay. One last thing I want to talk about. It's a TikTok that I am literally obsessed with. I've listened to it about 7,000 times.
Oh. While you pull it up,
okay.
Let me just riff for a second.
Please.
It's not super relevant to right now, and when this episode comes out, it's even less relevant. But speaking of TikToks, aka just, hey dad, just videos on the internet, watching black girls react to the Little Mermaid trailer and seeing the representation. They've never seen the trailer before. Their mom or dad or parent or whoever shows it to them, and they're watching it and they're going, oh my God, this looks great. Is this the Little Mermaid? Oh, the Little Mermaid. I love the Little Mermaid. And then the Halle Berry. What is it? Halle Bailey?
Halle Bailey.
I think,
which is
close,
very close.
Right?
Yeah.
Halle Bailey's face shows up.
Yep.
And I mean, you've seen them, right? Like all these little black girls just saying like, oh my God, she's brown like me and blah, 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 blah. Weeping. Absolute freaking tears going down my face seeing the representation. And then I've even seen a couple of like
it's
grandmas.
so sweet.
Of like old grandmas or like an old black grandpa and seeing it. And I was, oh my God, I was dying watching it. Of course, there's all this stupid ass fucking backlash from absolute racists because like it's literally the only reason you would have a problem with it. I have searched far and wide. There is no legitimate cause to actually be upset that they did that. When I say they, I mean Disney. Mm-hmm. There's no good reason. You have people like, I think his name's Matt Walsh. He's a fucking pseudo-intellectual like Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro. But like, he'll say things like, well, scientifically speaking, if a mermaid was at the bottom of the ocean, her skin color would be very, very white. Even translucent. And it's like, it's a mermaid. They don't exist. Shut up.
Yeah, 1,000%. People are
scientifically
so
speaking, it's fake. There's a Jamaican crab. Shut up.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, just like the dumbest people. Some people are like, oh, it's Danish folklore, so it should be white, and da-da-da-da. And it's like, that's not even, if you want to stay true to the Danish folklore, then she should die at the end and not get Prince Eric's love. So you're wrong. You're wrong across the board. It's so stupid. Like, just let people have this. Like, you're just mad because you're under the illusion that equality is a pie, and when an underrepresented group like black people or people of color take a slice of that pie, you have less. And that's not true. That's not what equality is. We all get a piece of it. If you're so mad about it, just show your kids the fucking cartoon, and there you go, white girl.
Exactly.
Who the hell cares, man? It is so stupid. Like,
yeah, I know. I love that they did that. I love those TikToks. They're so sweet.
It is so heartwarming.
Yeah,
and it's so interesting too because it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't even imagine what that's like. No. We've had representation our entire lives.
Yep.
From before our lives. You know what I mean? Like, every Disney character was white before. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's like
100%. They're all white.
So it's like, I've never had to experience representation in any way, shape, or form. You know what? I told you, watching the new Miss Marvel series on, what the fuck's it called? On Disney Plus. Just seeing that she was from New Jersey, that was like a new little tiny representation that I was like, hey, she's from Jersey City. I was like, fuck yeah. Cool. Yeah. New Jersey. Hell yeah. But like,
I know. I love that.
But also watching it and then just being like, oh, this is such awesome representation for like Muslims in America. I was like, I'm so pumped for them.
No, it's amazing.
But yeah, that's just.
Okay. So my TikTok means absolutely nothing compared to those TikToks. But I am so obsessed with it. Okay, are you ready? I'm gonna play it.
What do you prefer? A nice guy or an asshole?
An ancient man.
Is that what?
An ancient man.
An ancient man? What do you mean by that?
Like 1800s? Don't you want to go away with me? It'll be like humans never existed. Or technology.
Is that it? Yeah. Yeah, I have seen that before. I'm really
man?
interested to play that back and see how it sounds. But yeah.
An ancient man? Like 1800s?
The way it's okay. Yeah, It is very funny. The way she talks is crazy.
Don't you want to go
just
away with me?
Her voice, like her tone and cadence.
And then at the end, she just curtsies and then runs in the other direction. Oh my god. I've listened to it 1,000 times and I think it's so funny every time because I don't know why she's doing that.
Yeah,
like,
it's so
are
interesting.
you being for real, or when you were asked that question, were you like, I'm about to like try to be funny? An ancient man?
I don't know. I'll tell you what though.
Weird thing to say.
I think like I don't know.
So funny,
man. That whole trend of internet videos that where like it's like man on the street little interview things.
Yeah.
I'm getting bored of it.
That's fair.
I'm getting so bored of it.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing it. They do all the quizzes and
I normally skip over them.
Or they ask like controversial questions. What's your hottest take? Or like the only ones I can really stand right now are the Black Menaces. which is their name. That's what their handle is. I'm not
Okay.
I'm not calling
Yeah.
them Menaces. It's like at Black Menaces, and it's like a group of kids from BYU.
Brigham Young.
I think that is it. Brigham Young University.
It's
Where they
like
ask
the
all
Mormon
questions.
University.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But I like them a lot
Yeah.
because they stand up for what's right.
Okay, that's all I wanted to talk about.
Sick.
Those
All
are all
right,
my
guys. Let's take a little break for our sponsors, and then we will come right back. This video is sponsored by Hokkaido Brewing. Peach White Ale, brewed with Yamanashi peaches. All right, fantastic, and we're back.
That was funny.
I just want to... It wasn't. I just want to
should've
get
done-
used to it. And I've been trying to put in ad slots on the thing where I post them.
Yeah.
So
We
far,
should've- we
no
should-
ads show up, so I'm trying to get into it.
We're definitely sponsored by the Small Duck.
Oh, yeah, Small Duck.
He sponsors us.
Where did you find him
He's
again?
in support of our cause. At a thrift shop in a town. One day I was just driving and I was bored, so I just found one road and I just kept driving on that road until it ended. And I ended up in a town that I didn't know where I was, but it was cute and it was by the water. And I saw like antiques, like a big antique sign, and I was like, I fucking have to go there.
Vibes.
And then I went there and I bought myself 2 tiny shot glasses and that Small Duck and a sticker at another store on your laptop that says fuck nope.
Oh, yeah. Yep, it's on there.
I like the okay sticker best, but
They're all good.
it's just eggs and toast and it just says
This one
okay.
is really fun. I don't know if you guys can pick that one up. This one is the Celestial Arcanum. It is my D&D group that I DM for. They made their own little logo and sticker, and they sent me a copy of it. I thought that was really really neat. Cool. Okay, Sins of Our Mother: The Story of Lori.
What we're really here for.
Lori Vallow. So episode 1. Again, these are just my free form, free consciousness thoughts.
Okay, wait, before you start, if
Jesus.
you haven't seen
Fucking
it,
Christ.
if you haven't seen it, this is the synopsis on the Netflix website. When Lori Vallow's kids vanished, the search for them unearthed a trail of suspicious deaths, a new husband who shared her doomsday views, and murder. So that's kind of a glimpse into this series. There's suspicious deaths, doomsday views,
Oh boy.
and murder.
And murder.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, spoiler alerts.
Please,
murder.
go ahead.
Okay. So, again, these are just freeform consciousness notes. LDS Church, red flag.
Yeah, she raised her children in the LDS
Well,
church.
she was raised.
In the LDS
in the
church?
LDS
Oh, that's right. Her
church.
mother is
Her mother and father were raised.
interviewed.
I don't know if they were raised in the LDS
Her
church. but
father's not in it, right?
Oh, no. 100% is. Because they do the whole thing. I'm about to blow your mind.
Okay.
They do the whole thing where my next note goes into this. Quote, she picked up the scripture so fast, says her mom, the grandma.
Yeah.
And I wrote, yeah, you indoctrinated her. Mm-hmm. Like, you're teaching a child.
Of course.
We all know what it's like. I mean, our parents got us to believe Santa Claus, Easter Bunny, Tooth Fairy, all that crazy ass shit. And who the fuck is going around picking up teeth and giving us money for it? That's wild. It makes no sense. For what? You know what I mean? So, yeah, both your parents are shoving this down your throat. You're going to church, all this different stuff. Yeah, there's this guy in the sky. He loves you so much. And if you don't follow all of his teachings, he's going to burn you to death. And you're going to go to hell forever. And all this stuff. Now, beliefs aside, kids are just going to believe that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they don't
Believe
have a
whatever
choice.
their parents tell them for a long time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a part where the dad only gets interviewed for like a really short amount of time. Mm-hmm. There's only like one thing of him. And he's talking about how he was teaching her scriptures.
Okay.
Lori.
Yeah.
Who was the second youngest.
Yeah.
Of 4 kids. And he was teaching her scriptures. She starts crying. And then when she told the mom and the other siblings, Daddy is a spiritual giant. or something along those lines.
I remember that.
So like
comment.
even at a very young age, she was like
yeah,
getting indoctrinated, like super freaking into it. Which happens, you know?
100%.
Then I wrote beauty pageants. Weird. Because
she did beauty pageants.
She did beauty pageants.
She did, yep.
She was like Miss Texas.
Yep.
Shout out to fucking Texas for being exactly what we all think you are. Although I recently today saw that one of the sheriffs there is investigating Ron DeSantis for his like inhumane way of lying to migrants and sending them to Martha's Vineyard, but that's neither here nor there.
Yes.
Then I wrote stepdad sounds like a dick, abusive.
Okay, so
this was the first, like when the story starts, the documentary starts.
Okay.
This is the first stepdad.
The one that her
stepdad to Colby.
Her first son, Colby, is like the primary interviewee in the documentary. Like he appears the most often, and he gives the most insight in my opinion. Like he gives he has like conversations with her that were recorded. He gives like his telling of everything that happened because he was a lot older when all of this happened. Like he was an adult with a wife and a baby when everything was happening to his siblings who were a lot younger.
But yeah, this is like the
first.
But
the one you're talking about is in the beginning of the documentary. He talks about how he was like because she had a lot of husbands. She had like 4 or 5 husbands.
This particular one is the third husband, the one that's abusive, and I'm gonna get into
the
more
one
of that.
He says like when I told her about the abuse, like the sexual abuse in the beginning. Okay, that's the one you're talking about.
I was taking notes throughout the entire thing so much. Trust me.
Okay.
So this is when you just meet him, and he's just like he's being mean to the kid, to Colby. Colby's just a kid, and anytime Colby acted out, just like normal kid stuff, he would like punch him in the back of the head, and like started to be afraid of him and stuff like that. So at this point, I just wrote stepdad sounds like a dick, abusive. Terrible. Excuse me. And then I wrote God sent you to Wheel of Fortune. What the fuck? Because she goes on Wheel of Fortune and she tells all of her friends that God sent her to Wheel of Fortune. And I'm like, listen, I consider myself pretty spiritual. I believe in a higher power. And, you know, whatever. But the idea that God is sending you to Wheel of Fortune, like those are small potatoes, baby.
Yeah, when you think of like spiritual messages that come from what you believe is a higher being, you think of things like you need to help people, or you need to focus on your family, or you're gonna have a son, or like things like that. You don't like messages from the above aren't like, Lori, go on Wheel of Fortune.
Exactly.
Like that's not it.
It's crazy. It's a little crazy.
Yeah.
And then I wrote, oh fuck, sexual abuse from the stepdad. Jeez.
Yeah.
So
very bad. And
had that going on.
The woman who is that man's sister is interviewed a lot.
And she seems like a good person because she was like, you need to get away from this guy.
Yeah.
Before this sexual abuse came out.
Yep.
She was like, you got to get away from him. Like, he's a piece of shit.
If he's abusing you, get out.
Yeah, or like hitting
even
your kids, or you're unhappy, like get the fuck out of here. And then I wrote she sounds like a shitty mom, and that was in reference to when the son told his mom about the abuse, about the sexual abuse.
Yeah.
He said that she barely said anything, like she didn't even answer really. She was so quiet. And then he started to feel like, oh, it was my fault.
Yeah.
Like, I did wrong. I'm dirty. I am the reason that my mom started to warp and twist. And I just, these are gut reactions at the time. So, like, you have to keep in mind, this is early episode 1.
Yeah.
None of these notes reference episode 2 or anything.
It's just immediate feelings. No, I hear
immediate feelings,
But she says, like, immediately after that, the son says immediately after he told her about the abuse, she was like silent with him, but then she went to, there's like a recording. She went to like her priest or her somebody in the church. And she said like,
she said, I have it quoted,
go ahead.
Either turn to the temple or turn to murder.
Yeah. She's like, either I'm going to become super spiritual or I'm going to kill this guy.
Yeah.
Like,
which is kind of crazy. I wrote, what a wackadoo.
Yeah. Why not just go to the
Then she has her fourth husband, and I wrote, because pretty sure hardcore Christians are like very anti-divorce. So I was just like, Obviously, there's a lot of
she's LDS now. It's different
and stuff like that. No, it's still looked down upon. It's not
really?
like it's not because, like I said, a lot of them have been modernized. Like,
okay.
I think even look at the way that she dressed and the way that her kids dressed and all that kind of stuff compared to the the fundamental Latter-day Saints.
Right.
The ones from
like they
Stay
dress
Sweet
like
and Obey.
colonialists.
They dress like like crazy Little House on the Prairie with bonnets and everything. They were dressing very modern. So it's not like you can never get divorced. It's just, and especially the church would be like,
it's frowned upon.
No, you don't have to stay married to this fucking rapist.
Right.
But it's still like,
yeah.
I just thought it was interesting.
Okay.
Also, like 4 husbands.
It's a lot of husbands.
No offense to anyone. Our parents are divorced. I don't see anything wrong with getting divorced. Some of my friends are divorced. Sometimes that is genuinely the best decision for you, and I fully 1,000,000% support it.
But when you're on like divorce 3
when you're on divorce 4, when you're on your 4th or 5th husband or wife,
what are we
eventually
doing?
I'm like, are you the problem?
Yeah, maybe marriage isn't for you.
Yeah, like just chill. Like just focus on your family. It's fine. Just focus on your kids. It's all good.
Yeah.
But anyway. And then I wrote, so she's seeing things and hearing voices. Like, is this hardcore mental illness? And then she starts hearing voices from angels and stuff like that, and it just gets a little weird. Then she moved to Hawaii. I wrote, being this religious is really weird to me. And what I meant by that was like, she starts saying things of like her husband at the time like isn't as spiritual or religious as her, and she's like, I need somebody that's on my same level. And she's like starting to like the whole idea that she's like talking to angels and they're giving her ideas of a mission and all of this stuff. It's just very weird to me when you're getting to that level of like.
Yeah, I think there's a quote that I remember. I think the ex sister-in-law from the abusive husband says that Lori said she wanted in a husband a quote spiritual dynamo.
Yeah.
End quote.
Yeah.
Like someone who essentially she was like, I'm pretty fucking crazy, and I want someone who's just as crazy.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah. Yeah, I wrote, communicating with angels, get out of here.
Yeah.
Because that's when you lose me. You 100% lose me.
Yeah, she's like devolving. I have so much respect
for certain people with their faiths.
Yeah.
As long as you're not like actively preaching to take away people's rights just because of your religion's rules, and you're like willing to dance that line of like, you live your life however the fuck you want, but like in this country, freedom of religion. Like, no one has to abide by your rules. That doesn't make them any less of a person.
Yeah.
That doesn't make them any less of respect or dignity or whatever. Like, first and foremost, love everybody.
Yeah,
blah, 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 blah. So, like, I have a lot of respect for people who are devout in their faith. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Like, Muslims who pray 5 times a day, Jewish people who stay kosher and all that kind of stuff. Like, I have a lot of respect for that. Once you start talking with angels, I'm out.
Yeah.
That's when I start going like, oh, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you're crazy. You're not just like a religious person. You don't just have like a strong faith. You're nuts.
Yeah.
Like, I think you have mental illness now. Anyway. There's a point where they're videotaping in their car and they're in Hawaii still, and it's like their whole family, and she does a little surfs up hand signal, and then I knew for sure then that she's the worst person ever.
I know,
and
because
it's just because me and
do
Raven
that.
do that, and I was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't do that. I was so mad.
Those videos are weird to watch though, of them in the car when they're in Hawaii, because like she's got all her kids, and
she comes across so normal.
Nothing about the video is alarming. Like, you're just like, this is so normal.
She comes across normal in the future.
Yeah.
When you know things are crazy.
Yeah.
So,
which is so crazy because everyone apart from her in the documentary just talks about how good at manipulating she was.
Yeah.
Which is honestly so true because while you're watching it, you're like, she seems totally normal.
Yeah, 100%. I just wrote again, you have to keep in mind I'm watching like as we're going. Dude, why isn't Tylee at the wedding? Is she already dead?
Yeah, Colby, the oldest son, gets married to his
Kelsey,
his wife, who is interviewed
So
a lot
good
in the
for him,
documentary.
too. Yeah,
they're
I
awesome.
loved her.
They seem
I
like a great
loved her.
couple. Yeah.
What a rock.
And
to kind of
the daughter is not at JJ's at the wedding, the son.
JJ's at the wedding, I
The
believe.
daughter is not at the wedding.
I don't know if they adopted JJ yet.
Oh,
I
okay.
feel like I would have brought it up, but
The daughter is not at
maybe
the
I'm
wedding,
wrong.
and they both talk about how it, like, they didn't realize it at first, and then they realized it, like, where she's not here. And I don't know if they explain where, like, if the mom tries to explain where she is.
She says that she went on a skiing trip, and it was just
that's
like, what?
Yeah.
Like, first of all,
And everyone's like, huh?
how did Colby not know that? Like,
Yeah.
you're taking photos with your family at your wedding. You're just finding out right now that Tylee's
your
not at your
sister's not
wedding.
here? Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So it seemed like kind of weird across the board.
Yeah.
Then I wrote, oh, and now we're dipping into doomsday shit.
Yep.
And this is when it starts to even get weirder. Why is this whole second coming thing feel so manipulative and wild? Like, how many extreme Christians believe that the end times are during their lifetime? And I just think that that's an interesting trend that you see a lot. And it's true for a lot of cults. Doomsday cults is its own category. We did that on the cult episode. Please, feel free to go back and check out our prior episodes.
Yeah, once you start talking about doomsday and you start believing in
Like the revelations
the quote
and stuff like that.
end times,
Yeah.
that's when I feel like you're really losing it, because now everything that you do is going to be because you believe the end of the world is coming.
Yeah.
And
you start to like see signs everywhere.
Yeah.
Everything is a sign. And it's
Yeah.
just like, you can't even argue
Like
with a person like
your
that.
brain is melting at that
Yeah,
point. Like, you're not going to listen to reason. You're not.
No, everything is out the window. It's
Yeah.
just, everything is a sign. Everything is legit. And it's a very, very slippery slope.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get it. People who believe the Bible, like, verbatim.
Yeah.
Because, biblical people, or there's a word for it. Bibliophile, I forget. There's, like, a word specifically for Christians. Some Christians believe the Bible is, like, interpretive or like allegorical, like, for example, they'll look at like the story of Noah and they're like, well, I don't actually think that 2 of every animal fit on a boat, but I think it's a message because of X, Y, and Z,
Right.
And then other people will be like, no, it's word for word. It's supposed to be word for word, and that's a totally different belief.
Yeah, totally.
That being said, and then I just wrote, oh shit, podcasts. Because
she makes a podcast.
She makes a podcast, and it's ironic because I was writing these notes knowing that we were going to do a podcast, but she makes a podcast called like Welcome. Oh man, it's something about fire, like Welcome His Flames or His Fire or something like that. I don't know. It's something to do with like the fiery embrace of Jesus, and I was like,
so cringy.
Man, that's like when people say I'm a God-fearing person.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Feel the Fire
yeah,
is what the podcast is called.
Boy. And on that,
Yeah.
here's what's crazy and frustrates me across the entire fucking, not the documentary, but like the story.
Yeah.
How are her kids not hearing her saying this wild shit?
Yeah, hearing her
Because-
talk crazy.
Yeah, that'll come up in a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
And now we meet this other character named Chad Daybell, who makes Lori Vallow look like a normal fucking person. This guy's a real psycho.
He's like one of those people, like you see on like the
He's
John
like
Oliver episode where he talks about like the he talks about like the priests on TV who say like, you need to plant your seed, you need to send me money, and that's you planting your seed, and I'm gonna like sow your seed into the ground and make more money, and people who talk in tongues and like just like
real wackadoos.
Psycho
people who are
people.
like, you're watching them and even from an outsider perspective, you're watching it and you're going, this is one of two things. Either, or I guess technically three things. Because it's either A, you're a scammer.
Yeah.
You're just a piece of shit grifter who has found an incredibly gullible group of people. And you're using the idea of God, the creator of the universe,
to manipulate them
in order to make money.
Yep.
Or B, you believe this shit.
In which case you're crazy.
And then C, a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Which is what I think he was. I think he was a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Because he's like writing books. He started his own company, like publishing company. He had these apparently it was like a near-death experience, but he was the only one there. So it's like, okay, great. Of course you were the only one there.
Yep.
And all this different stuff. And God told him that he had to build the New Jerusalem.
Yeah.
And, he meets Lori Vallow, and I wrote, they've been married before in other lifetimes.
Yeah, what a thing to say to
Jesus
someone whose mind is
Christ.
already melting.
That's what I mean. Like this idea that, that to me is so interesting because I have, compared to you, and no offense, you, not that you're going to give a shit, I know a little bit more about Christianity and the Bible.
Yeah, I know nothing.
The concept that you've been reincarnated, that to me, and feel free, I would love to reach out to some of my friends who are like more devout. That to me, it feels like spits in the face of what like is supposed to happen.
Right.
You live your life. You're not supposed to come back to earth.
Right.
You go to heaven or hell. Like, and that's it. You go to the eternal kingdom of God.
Yeah.
Jesus is the only one who's ever been resurrected. What the fuck? I guess Lazarus, but that was like a really specific thing.
Yeah.
Lazarus or whatever. But anyway, that was wild.
And I think it's an interesting thing that they did in this documentary is they interview that woman who has like black hair, and she's like, listen, I am a spiritualist with prophetic tendencies or something. She's like, I can prophesize.
Psycho.
But that Chad Daybell guy, he's fucking nuts. And I think that's an interesting tactic because they took someone who's like a little bit crazy and they were like, look, this lady is a little bit crazy. But even she's saying that guy was nuts.
Yeah, she believes in alternate lifetimes.
Yeah.
But Chad was evil.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually wrote when they start talking to her, oh, wow, daughter of 10 kids who grow up in LDS church and she has prophet-like powers? No wonder. I just wrote, these people have serious problems. Yeah. And then I wrote, the New Jerusalem is in Idaho? Give me a fucking break.
Yeah, there's no way.
That is always a really interesting thing to me.
No New Jerusalem is in Idaho.
I low-key don't like Ricky Gervais.
Okay.
I don't like him.
Okay.
He punches down at trans people in some of his acts, and I just think that's him and Dave Chappelle can go fuck themselves, in my opinion. Sorry, it was like, it's like foaming.
What's happening?
I don't know. But Ricky Gervais says this one thing about how convenient it is that most of the time you are the religion of the people around you. Yeah. And that religion is the true religion. Like, if you were born in the Middle East, you'd probably be Muslim or Hindu, depending on where specifically. That's very convenient. If you're born in Europe or America, you're more likely to be Christian or Catholic. That's very convenient.
Your religion is essentially dependent on geography.
That's what he says.
Yeah.
I thought it was an interesting point. So this idea that the New Jerusalem is apparently this, like, after the end of times, after the reckoning and the coming of Jesus, and when he smites all the sinners and all this shit, eventually, the chosen people, of which there will only be 144,000. Those people, which is crazy, because so many people have died. There's 7 billion people on Earth right now. How many people have died over the last 2,000 years since Christ was around? Wow. Yeah. That's crazy. You gotta be so fucking egotistical
to think that you're
the 1%. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And after the things that they do, and they still think they might be in the 1%. Anyway, wild. So, okay.
Wait, did you talk about her one husband, Charles, yet?
My very next note is about him.
Okay, go ahead.
I said, so now her husband is dead, and the body is possessed by a demon.
Okay, so Charles...
Dead in quotes.
Yeah. Charles is her husband after the abusive husband.
Fourth husband.
Her fourth husband. The abusive husband is the third husband. So Charles, the fourth husband, I feel really bad for because he seems like a really great guy. He's the one that Colby, the eldest son, says like, you were my father figure, like you were my dad essentially.
Yeah.
And he seems like a really great guy. They show body camera footage from police officers of a night where Charles calls the police because Lori, he can't contact Lori and the kids, and she took his car.
Yeah.
And you see him, and he's like explaining to them, like, listen, she's
lost her mind.
She's lost her mind. She thinks she's this like otherworldly being, and she called me like
that's reincarnated. She calls me Ned.
She calls me
Ned. I don't understand, and I'm a dark spirit apparently, and she has to kill me.
Yeah.
Which is insane, which is why I said her husband is dead. So the idea that is like Charles is dead. Mm-hmm. The body is being possessed by a demon. It's just a shell.
Yeah.
And the demon's name is Ned.
Yeah.
What?
And I think
that's very interesting that demons are choosing these like super American white people names.
I know. I will say I did think it was very interesting that he was like in such distress, like he couldn't find his kids. He like opened the garage for the cops, like his car, he's like, my car's gone, like my kids are gone, I don't know where they are. She took them, like she's not answering calls. And like they don't even try to find her to do like a wellness check. Like the cops explained to him like it's within her rights to take the kids, like there's not much we can do.
The cops in this story, and Dad, I know you listen to our episodes, and you are a great cop. I'm gonna shit all over these cops. I need you to know that it's not a big statement. It's the cops in this specific story, so just bear with me.
I just don't understand. I don't know if it's because I don't have a strong understanding of the like laws when it comes to like familial disputes, but like I don't understand why they couldn't even be like, okay, we're gonna find her to do a wellness check. Because she just vanished.
Yeah, it feels like they were just doing the least.
Because they explained it. They're like, she's allowed to take the kids. There's not much we can do. Call us if she comes back.
Yeah, no. Some of what they say is true at that moment.
Yeah.
But going forward, we will see how this police department and several others do the least work possible. And it, in my opinion, lends itself to the results at the end.
Okay.
The people actually passing away.
I have to pause. Really?
And we're back. All right. Thanks to our sponsors again. Again, if you have a fucking business or whatever, let us know.
We will talk you up. We're good at that.
Yeah, we will. And if we use your product, we'll talk you up even more.
Yep.
Okay. But we're back to it. Husband possessed by a demon.
Yes, poor Charles.
Here's what I wrote though, because this is when you talked about the whole body cam where you see Charles talking, and he's like, "Listen, I know it sounds wild, but she is crazy."
Yes.
He starts reaching out to family members. Mm-hmm. Lori,
via email, right? He sends emails.
Like you said, Lori's a manipulator.
Yep.
So she lies and she says, "Listen, I've found out that Charles is cheating on me. Don't respond to any of his emails, any of his texts, any of his anything. He's nuts." Mm-hmm. He sends an email to the entire family, like extended family members, everything. And here is where I wrote, in my opinion, again, I'm an outsider looking in. I said the family, honestly, is complicit as far as I'm concerned to just write off the stepdad immediately. At this point, they read that email. Even Colby reads that email and goes, "Oh, he's making shit up because he got caught cheating." I understand Lori is super manipulative. I understand because there's further on we'll see scenes of when she does go in for the wellness check and tricks everybody into that she's super normal and Charles is the weird one. I get it. It feels like they should have done more.
It's hard.
And it's easy for me to say that, and that I understand that. But when you're watching it, that's how I felt at that moment.
I know. I think it's really hard when it's your mom. Like, if anyone to us ever said anything like, your mom is crazy, she thinks XYZ, like, she's a psycho, you need to whatever, we would be like, huh? Like, what?
Then that's why I think that's so interesting that none of her family has, like, Olive, please stop vomiting practically on my floor, please. But it's why I think it's so interesting no one knows about the podcast thing.
Yeah.
Because on the podcast, she's talking about all this crazy ass shit.
You're right. There is something to back it up.
There's so many clues. Mm-hmm. But okay. When the police go and they're checking things out, one of the cops kicks a door down, and I just wrote, man, I want to kick a door down. Oh,
it'd be fun.
I want to do a B&E, but mainly just B&E. I just want to break a door down. I don't even really want to do the E, just the B.
It's a quick Dane Cook shout out.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
I thought it was interesting the police can't do anything even though the husband is telling them all this shit, which is what you already mentioned. I think that's crazy. Then they eventually get her, right? And they bring her in. Mm-hmm. And I wrote, again, this is a gut reaction. I wrote, wow, these cops suck. Lori is a pretty woman, and they are instantly taking her side. Mm-hmm. Because you see the interrogation footage. It is a joke.
So there's actually 2 interrogations that I'm thinking of in my head. I'm wondering which one you're talking about. Because I know there's one where they're at a table, and Lori and the daughter are both at the table.
Yes.
And then there's one where, like, Lori's in the room, and it's just her and the interrogator in the room, and then it cuts to a different room with the interrogator and the daughter.
Entirely.
Where she's, like, sitting on the chair couch.
That's after the stepdad actually gets killed.
Okay.
But we'll get to that.
Yeah, so it's crazy she's interrogated twice.
And it's insane because at this point they have not done the wellness check yet. They say, listen, we got to put down not like a warrant, but almost kind of like a warrant where we're going to have to come out and we're going to have to get you for this wellness check and da-da-da-da. They instruct to her how to avoid the cops. When they come, they're not going to bust down your door or anything. They're going to knock on your door. Talk to them through the door. If you don't want to go, you don't have to go. They're telling her how to avoid it. And eventually they're like, hey, all this different stuff, like, I don't know. Eventually they get her to agree to it. And she does the check, and
the wellness check is because they haven't seen JJ, right?
No, not yet.
No, not yet?
No.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about.
This is earlier on. This is because her husband is saying, I'm in fear for my life, and I think she could hurt the kids.
Oh, okay.
So the police go and do a wellness check.
Yeah.
And that's part of this, and they want to do the psych evaluation because
that's right.
The husband is saying, she's saying that there are demons and dark spirits and all this shit.
And then she does the psych eval.
Yeah, and
it, like,
she's
comes
a manipulator.
up fine, yeah.
Because she's a manipulator.
Exactly.
She's not gonna. She's smart.
She knows
she's
what they
like
wanna
smart
hear.
enough to be like, I know I sound crazy, so I just won't say any of that.
Right.
And at that point, what do you do? So some of it, like, I'll give some of the law enforcement a break because she is a huge manipulator. She knows exactly what she's doing. Yeah. She knows what
she's
not to
like
say.
Going to them being like, listen, the Lord told me when I was on Wheel of Fortune
that there are zombies.
And
all
I need
of this
to defeat
stuff.
them.
And I need to kill them in order to build the new Jerusalem in, and I know this sounds far-fetched, Idaho.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, she's not. She's like, listen, I love my kids. I don't know what this guy's talking about.
So then she starts sending emails to Daybell. Remember Daybell? He's the wackadoo who says that they've met and been married in multiple lives and all this different stuff. And she begins sending emails to him, but claiming to be her own husband. She's claiming to be Charles, saying, hey, can you come out to where I live? I want to do a book and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
That way they can have an affair. Then I put a note that I said, how come it is the most religious people are actually the worst people who are actually like breaking their own religion's rules? Thou shalt not do adultery.
Yeah.
Is literally one of the commandments, one of the most fundamental rules of all of Christianity, whether it's, you know, whatever denomination it is. That's a big one.
See, that's why I don't think...
they're committing adultery.
I think people
do they think that it's okay because, I'm not actually cheating on my husband, I'm cheating on a demon, which is totally fine.
I think people like this aren't actually religious. I think that they're crazy and they try to cover up their crazy with religion because...
it's a huge question for this whole story.
Everything that she does, in her head, I feel like she could essentially be like, well, it's fine that I'm doing that because God told me I should.
I know.
I heard an angel tell me I should kill my children. I heard an angel tell me I should cheat on my husband. I should kill my husband. The person I'm with should cheat on his wife. Like, yeah, you're going to hear that a bunch. I'm so sorry, Olive. For Olive. But, like, that's probably why she reasons away everything with, like, well, I'm a soldier for God, so I have this authority. I can do that. Like, you know what I mean?
I agree. Okay. Then I wrote, dang, one brother, Adam, is onto her BS. Him and Charles start texting back and forth. They're setting up these family interventions, all this different stuff. Adam is the only one in Lori's like immediate family who is like seeing it. Mm-hmm. The brother Alex, also crazy, just as fucking crazy.
They
show all of these text messages between them. Well, they grew up in the same thing, and he clearly fell to the same stuff. My last note, the Mormons are crazy, dude. And then we get into episode 2.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All of these texts that keep calling the husband Ned. What the fuck?
Yeah, she refers to him as Ned because she thinks the demon that has taken over his body is called Ned.
Yeah, but his name is Charles.
Yeah,
and it is
so you
insane.
see in like text messages, she says like it's Ned. Like it's, I have to get rid of Ned.
Even call. Yeah, exactly. And there's all these texts between between her and her brother Alex about Ned. We got to get rid of Ned and all this stuff. Well, then Charles goes to the house in order to pick up their son JJ, and who's adopted, but regardless, go to pick up JJ and bring him to school. Lo and behold, the next thing the documentary shows you is a 911 call from Alex saying that he had to shoot Charles in the chest because of self-defense. And I just wrote, self-defense is such an interesting claim when there's like no witnesses and stuff like that. Like I understand that that's a real thing. Like there is such a thing as self-defense, and like sometimes it's legit, blah, 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 blah. Obviously, I personally have issues with like Florida and Texas and like their crazy laws where it's just like literally all you have to do is be like, I feared for my life. Boom. And then you can just murder people.
There are a bunch of crazies.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
But like the body cam footage proves how much of this shit does not add up. Like when they're asking Alex all these different questions, it makes no sense. Like he's like dancing around the questions of like, well, this happened and then this person was home and then they left and da-da-da, and then the cops are like...
there's a part where he says like, like my sister went with my nephew or my niece and she was gone, and then they're like, okay, and then what happened? And then he's like, oh, and then my niece came out of the room with a baseball bat. And he's like,
oh, I thought no one else was here.
I thought your niece was gone.
He trips over his shit so often. It is crazy. And then when Lori eventually shows back up at the house, she never asks, is he alive? Is he okay?
Yeah, like, doesn't ask about Charles at all.
Seems so nonchalant about
calm.
The whole thing.
Yep.
Then Tylee gets wrapped up in the whole thing, which is a kind of a weird part. Then this is when they start doing the interviews of them in separate rooms.
Right.
It is super not adding up. So, because then it becomes obvious that Lori heard gunshots.
Yeah, she says she heard
the
them.
gunshots, but then she left to go get Burger King and flip-flops. What the fuck?
She even said, there's a part where she says to the cops, she says, like, I heard gunshots, and then I went into mom mode, and I was like, I have to get my kids to school. Which I thought was a really weird thing to say, because, like, if it were me, I don't have children, so I can't speak as a mother, but, like, I would like to imagine that, like, if I was home, my kids were in the home, and I heard gunshots, I would, like, shove my kids into a room and then be like, who got shot? Like, call 911, call
something.
Whatever. Like, where did those gunshots just come from? Like,
Something.
I wouldn't be like...
You don't go by flip-flops.
I wouldn't be like, I'm going to ignore those gunshots and take my kids to school.
It is
like,
crazy.
Yeah.
And this is where I really start hitting the cops really hard. Mm-hmm. And again, you're right. We don't really understand the intricacies of how certain law enforcement things work.
Right.
And how difficult it may or may not be to get phone records. Mm-hmm. But I wrote, they're not checking the phone records. That is so fucking lazy. At least that's what I felt.
For
in
who?
That moment.
For what?
The phone records between Lori and
Alex.
And even Charles, because Charles has all these different things with him and the other brother, Adam.
Yeah.
You go back, you got Daybell's different records and stuff like that. Like, all of these texts would corroborate that this was not necessarily self-defense. This was a planned thing. This is premeditated murder at its finest.
Uh-huh.
Crazy. Then she calls Colby, lies about the cause of death, says that he died of a heart attack.
Yep.
And I wrote, what a fucking moron. How do you think Colby's not going to find out? And then I wrote that if I was Colby, I would move states. I would get as far away from these people as possible.
Yep.
And then, oh my God, you have to keep in mind, Charles has his own kids. Mm-hmm. Like, they were a blended family.
Sad.
She starts texting his sons, his biological sons, that she is not related to blood-wise. Mm-hmm. And she's saying, like, hey, your dad died today. I'll explain more later. I have to take JJ to school. And then, like, doesn't answer for 4 hours. And the kids are freaking out. They're, like, texting her, like, what the fuck, Lori?
Yeah.
How are you just going to tell me my dad's dead and you're not going to fucking tell me, blah, blah, blah. Dude.
Unreal.
I wanted to punch her in her goddamn throat. Man, I was already, like, not liking her. Mm-hmm. This is, like, the turning point where I was like, I hope hell is real so that you can burn for eternity. Like, that's how I'm feeling now.
No one could tell me my parent was dead and then not explain it, and there's no way I wouldn't be flying to wherever that was happening.
It's over, dude.
Like, I'm gonna show up at your door. Yeah. I'm not just waiting for you to text me back.
I'm gonna put my hand on your chest.
Yeah.
It's going down, dude. It is going down.
I'm gonna show up wherever you are. You're not gonna ignore my texts.
Yeah, get out of town. Go fly a kite, bro. Mm-hmm. Anyway, then I wrote, Colby's wife is a real one. Cutting off the mom and her family is super legit.
Yeah, she's great, that lady.
She is really great. You watch the whole thing and you're just like, God dang, dude, I hope I find a rock like this in my life. Mm-hmm. Bro, this is just making me more and more upset. All these texts to Daybell. The life insurance. That's what I mean.
It's always the life insurance.
That's what I mean. There are texts of her. Recorded conversations of her reaching out to the life insurance days after finding out that it got switched over, and then immediately texting Daybell and being like, oh, I'm not the beneficiary, it must be this person, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry, babe, we're going to figure it out. Mm-hmm. Then, Colby is trying, they move,
to like Arizona or something, right?
I forget exactly where. They might already be in Arizona. I think they moved to Idaho at this point. Maybe. Okay. They move. All I know is that they move. With Tylee, with JJ. Mm-hmm. They move. Then, this is around the time that, like, Colby, the son, is like, he's already married to Kelsey, but then he has a kid.
Yep, they got a baby.
He's in his own life. Mm-hmm. He's got his own shit going on. He reaches out, starts reaching out more often to Tylee, mm-hmm. His technically stepsister, but regardless, his sister. And she's responding in a way that's kind of weird. It doesn't add up. It's not like her voice, if you will.
Yeah, he says like she's adding periods like to her sentences, and she never does that.
There's normally not, and everything is in lowercase. I just wrote, "Oh shit." The all lowercase. That's usually what happens when you text using a computer, because iPhones will automatically capitalize. It's just a small thing, because like if you use iMessage on computers, sometimes it'll it'll all lowercase things. You have to actually click.
The all lowercase is
You have to
interesting.
click shift in order to get the uppercase.
Yeah.
When you're using your laptop to text.
Yeah.
But if you use your phone, you know this, it automatically capitalizes.
I thought
things.
the all
and that's just a small detail. It's not. That doesn't mean anything.
No, I thought
it was just something I thought.
I thought the all lowercase was interesting because I feel like if you were using the phone, like if someone was using her phone, they would have to go out of their way to make all of the characters lowercase.
Exactly, you would.
You have to try.
Which you wouldn't do.
Yeah. Which, by the way, this is neither here nor there, but my coworkers, Alex and Marissa, if you're listening to this, both of them text with all lowercase, and I know that they have to go out of their way to do that. Stop.
Yeah, cut it out.
Anyway.
I wrote, Lori is texting as Tylee, it's obvious.
Yeah.
And I wrote, now they find the podcast? What the fuck?
Mm-hmm. Her crazy
finally,
podcast.
They start investigating things. They're looking at the Facebooks. They're looking at different social media things. They find the fucking podcast. Finally. How? What the hell?
I
You
know.
guys just found the podcast? I mean, like, granted, you just had a baby. You're doing your own shit. Like, you're not the police.
if
You're
she never
random
said,
family
I have a
members.
podcast, they would have no reason to think that she had a podcast.
I know, that's true.
You know
It's
what
just,
I mean?
it's just interesting to me.
Yeah.
Then I wrote, yo. I'm just reading it as I wrote it. Yo. Daybell is convincing Lori, who's already a nut, about this spirit ranking system.
Okay, I'm very glad we got to that because I'm looking at the like little thumbnail on Netflix for this series and it talks about the spirit ranking system. So he had this system to rank people's spirits or their souls.
Yeah.
And it looks like a staircase, and at the bottom of the staircase is 6D, which is 6 level dark.
Yeah.
And then it goes like 5D, 4D, 3D, 2D, 1D, and then 1L, which is 1 light.
And then up to 6
And then
light.
up to 6L, which
and
is
like,
6 light.
He made this up. That's the interesting thing.
Right.
My next note is, oh my God, fuck the LDS church. But I don't know exactly what that's in reference to. I think it's just because the LDS... I think at this time I started to put together this idea that like... You have this Church of the Latter-day Saints. Mm-hmm. They have so many branch-offs of this Mormonism that are turning into cults and this weird-ass fucking shit that is resulting in murder and rape and child marriage and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And it all stems from people who believe in Mormonism. And that's why I said that. But, yeah, the whole thing is something that Daybell created. He was the one who invented this ranking system, which is insane. And this is when they start interviewing that lady again, the dark-haired lady who's also crazy and believes in multiple lives. She is like, there's no ranking system. Our Lord would never rank us. He loves us all equally, and da-da-da-da.
But I think she actually says something that I think is really interesting, where I think she's crazy, but also like... I want to say level-headed, but like, and I say that because she says, in my belief, like the second Jerusalem, the second coming or whatever, will be led by Christ. Like, he's the only one who leads that.
Right.
It's not going to be led by Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. Like, it's not going to be led by these two randoms who mean nothing. Like, it's going to be led by Christ.
100% true.
Which, even though I'm not religious and I don't believe in God or any higher power or any of that thing, that to me, like,
tracks
with
it makes
religion.
more sense, at least. Yeah.
Like, it feels way less crazy to be like, oh, there's going to be this event that happens led by the higher power versus there's going to be this event that happens that is led by
this guy who's
that
cheating on his
there.
wife with this other lady who's cheating on her husband, and then her husband mysteriously dies. And then now I've written, bro, so now they're just murdering people they think are zombies. Jesus. And they're texting about it.
They showed text messages between Lori
her
and
brother,
her brother Alex, and he says like, hey, what are you up to? And she says, dealing with Z's, like capital Z apostrophe S.
Crazy.
And he says like, proud of you. And she says something along the lines of, oh, guess who's the next Z? And like, they talk about who and Z stands for zombie.
It's her
like,
niece's ex-husband.
yes.
Oh boy, it's crazy.
Oh my God. And then they show there's like a clip of he gets shot at. Like someone tries to shoot at him.
Someone
and
comes
he
to
calls
his house
the police,
and tries to murder him.
And they're like, do you have any enemies? Like, through body camera footage, you can see the police asking like, do you have any enemies? Like, would anyone who's trying to attack you? And he's like, if there's anyone who was trying to attack me, it's my ex-wife's aunt and her religious group.
Yeah.
Like,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
And then it's funny. So this other lady that we've talked about a couple times, I just wrote, why the fuck do they keep interviewing this other idiot? She's like, God told me that Lucifer lied to Chad and Lori about starting the church. And I was just like, this lady is nuts. Interviewing her seems so interesting to me. You're right. It does give such an interesting perspective. Because it's like, okay, we have crazy people who are like, I'm not going to murder anybody. I'm not violent.
Right.
I just believe in some crazy ass shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. Well,
I think
that's way better than I'm crazy, but also like incredibly violent.
That's why
I have to murder people.
That's why I think they
set up this new kingdom for God.
That's why I think they interviewed her to show that there are people who hold these beliefs who are not violent and don't believe that they need to murder people for XYZ reason.
My next note is, you might not be violent, but you need help too.
Yeah, she does for sure. But
next note. Also, can we talk about the demon names? Ned, Viola. Because at this point...
Is Viola the one in Tammy?
In Tammy.
Yeah.
So Tammy is Chad Daybell's wife.
Yep.
And apparently she has a demon in her. How convenient.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why there's a very interesting, like, part of me that at the end of all of this, you just want to be like, are you actually crazy? Are you actually crazy?
Or are you putting on an act?
Are you putting on a crazy act?
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting, but we'll get to that. All caps, I wrote, how are the cops not checking phones? Oh my God, sorry. Jojo.
Give us a second.
That's home, I think.
Yeah.
I wrote, how are the cops not checking phones and texts?
I know.
Because all of these texts just make everything so crystal clear.
Mm-hmm.
But okay. And then I wrote, what do you know? A bunch of weddings and all isolation. And it all stems from a church spouting about prophets and zombies and the apocalypse. This is when Alex gets married to somebody. Lori's niece gets married to somebody. Like, they're all like doing all of these weddings because you have to be married because your partner on this plane is going to be your partner in the afterlife.
And they're marrying...
And the doomsday is coming up, so you got to get married soon.
And they're marrying people who are also...
Wackadoo,
who are also believing this delusion of end of times, like whatever. Like
Doomsday,
Alex
zombies.
marries this woman who like they have on the podcast, and
Zaluma
or something like that. Yeah, and then the niece is believing it too, and she's with them, and she marries someone who's in their group.
But it's interesting though because they also interview Zaluma.
Yeah,
and there's a moment when she's like, because hold on, let me kind of continue a little bit. Dude, how are people not putting the pieces together? And then Alex dies. But he dies. And then I wrote, and as of right now, it does seem like natural causes, more like karma, you murdering bitch. But
I wasn't expecting that. When he died, I was like, whoa. No, I didn't expect that to happen.
I fully was like, okay, they killed him because he's the linchpin. He's the one who's actually doing the murdering. Yeah. So they murdered him so that blah, 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 blah.
Well, he killed Charles. Did he kill anybody else?
Yeah, he kills Tammy.
Oh, he killed... And yeah, he's the one who killed Tammy, too.
There's speculation that he killed JJ.
Okay.
And speculation that he was the one who shot at Brandon.
Right.
Because of the gray Jeep that belonged to Charles, of all people.
He tells Zaluma, when they're in bed one night, like, I think I'm their...
Fall guy.
And she says, like, what do you mean? And he doesn't say anything.
No, he doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that maybe some of these women aren't privy to we're going to murder these quote-unquote zombies.
No, I think the only people privy to that are Lori and Chad.
And Alex.
Yeah, but I agree. Alex eventually...
Very interesting stuff.
What did they say he died from? They said he died
from... It was some kind of natural cause. It was like thrombosis of the lungs or something like that. And that runs in the family, apparently. Right. So that kind of tracked. Mm-hmm. Then they go back to Hawaii, and I just wrote fucking white people.
I know. Stop going to Hawaii. What are you doing there?
Dude, these news videos are scary and so bizarre. The ones where they are I'm trying to remember exactly where we are at this point. Because I jumped around and I wasn't 100%
like when
great
her and Chad go to Hawaii and then we find out that they got married there. There's like photos that are released.
This is after what I left out was the quote unquote, damn it, wellness calls when they actually go to their apartments and they're asking, hey, we haven't heard from Tylee or JJ.
Yeah, so they're the children's grandmother on the other side, I think. Her name is Kay.
Yeah.
She calls the police and is like, I haven't heard from my grandchildren. Like, I don't know where JJ is. I haven't heard from them in months. Like, can you just go do a wellness check? And they find her they go to like an apartment complex is it in Idaho?
I think so.
And they go to an apartment that first is Alex and Chad.
Yeah, and Chad lies about.
He says like, I'm doing a wellness check. I'm trying to
stuff.
find JJ, and the narrators say like Alex just like looked at Chad like, and they say, I think that he's with his grandmother. And the cops go, well, that's unlikely because she's the one who requested that we make this wellness check.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, okay. And they're like, and then they're like, where is Lori? And they're like, she's in apartment, whatever, over there.
Yeah.
So then they go to that apartment and they ask Lori, like, where are the kids? Like, we're trying to find the kids. We just need to like figure it out. Like, where are they?
But they're focusing on JJ because he's the younger one.
Right.
Because Tylee at this point is like 16, 17.
Yeah. And she says they're with a friend of mine. I can't remember her name, but it's someone who she does the podcast with. Yeah. And then...
And they can't get in touch with her. Yep. So then they're like, listen, we can't get in touch with her. If you get in touch with her, let us know. And then eventually they do get in touch with her and they actually have cops like show up at her house and she's not.
She's like, JJ
is not with them, and then you see a scripted out recorded phone call between this woman who started the podcast with Lori, and then Chad is also on the line.
Yeah, Lori and Chad are together, and they're talking to her
this
on the
woman, man, I wish I wrote her name down. It's like Marianne or Mary Beth or some shit like that. I don't know. She's white, and She's like, well, why did you do that? Like, let me just ask you that. Like, why are you telling them that I have JJ? And it's like, well, I just had to have them think that they were with somebody and not where they actually are. And she's like, well, what the hell? Like, that's not what a friend would do. And Lori, it's so creepy. Like, Lori's just like, I love you so much. And I think that, this will all make itself known and da-da-da. And it's so creepy. Then, so at this point, the kids are considered missing. It reaches national news. At this point also, once they figure out like, okay, this other woman that she said was with this person JJ is not with this person. Then they go back to the apartment complex and poof, they're fucking gone. Yep. So now we're all like, what the fuck is going on? This is when it starts to hit national news. People are freaking out. We can't find these kids. They're considered missing. Yep. So, at one point, the grandmother, Lori's mom, does an interview where she says... That part
is wild.
She is like, there is no way. The kids are totally safe. They're not missing at all and all this stuff. And I wrote, I want to punch this lady in the fucking face.
It was a really weird move. So Lori's mom and her sister do this interview and she says like, we were just so confident in Lori at that point. Like, we loved her. We truly believed that she wasn't going to do anything to her children and we wanted to stick up for our family. So we decided to do this interview. And then the interview, the man's like, okay, but she did all this shady fucking shit and her kids are missing. And, like, you really believe, like, she didn't do anything? Like, she's not responsible at all? She's not telling us where the kids are. And they're like, no, she absolutely didn't. Like, we believe she's doing the best thing for her kids. Like, whatever.
And even then, like, her son, Colby, at this point is like, I don't know why they did that interview. Yeah. That's crazy. Not only are you making things worse, but you're making the whole situation more complicated. Yep. And, like, you don't know. Yep. You don't know. It's I understand. It's your daughter is the only excuse I will give you. Yeah. I get that it is your daughter.
I think it was her last...
But...
I don't know what the phrase... Last-ditch attempt? last
ditch attempt.
Excuse me.
Kind of thing.
Where she was like, I want so badly to believe that my daughter isn't evil.
She's holding on to this idea, and it just
I can
true.
imagine that. Like, if someone told me my daughter committed these horrible, horrible crimes or was suspected of them, like, I would want so badly to be like, what are you talking about? Like, my daughter wouldn't do that. Like, I raised her better than that. Like, what do you mean?
100%.
Like, so badly. And then, like, it cuts almost immediately after that to the mother now, present day, and she was like, they were right, I was wrong.
Yeah, where did
I shouldn't have done that interview. I was wrong.
Oh, you know what is actually the thing? Technically, that interview didn't happen yet in the documentary. It happens a little bit later.
But still, she was wrong, and it sucks
wrong.
that she did that.
Okay, episode 3. Final episode. First note I made, which is very interesting. I wanted to have your take on this. They never mention Chad's kids and what they think about this whole thing.
I didn't know he had kids.
He has his own kids. They show several times.
Oh, he had 5 kids. They
show the family picture of him and Tammy.
Him and Tammy
all
had
of
5
his kids.
They don't bring up his kids at all.
They never bring up his kids.
Maybe Netflix tried to talk to the kids and they were like, we want nothing to do with this.
Probably.
We don't want to talk to you.
But it is interesting. I really was like, it was funny that I didn't think about it earlier, but now I'm like, what the fuck? They never talk about Chad's kids.
Yeah.
Anyway, dang, bro. Okay, so at this point of the thing, they have been caught and they've been brought in. They find them in Hawaii.
Yeah, so they go to Hawaii.
And they bring them in for a number of things. They're starting to reinvestigate because at this point, Tammy has died. Mm-hmm. Charles has died. Mm-hmm. Alex is dead.
Yep.
Brandon was shot at. Mm-hmm. And
the kids are missing.
Tylee
and JJ.
Tylee Ryan and JJ are missing.
Right. So they go, Lori and Chad run away from Idaho and go back to Hawaii. That's where they get married, and then that's where they are when they're found by police.
And that's where the TV interviews are so awkward and like cringy and just, it makes you feel like spiders are crawling over you because they're straight up just like, it's kind of a typical reporter thing.
Yeah.
Where they're just like shouting questions at them.
And shoving
but they're just shouting like, where are your kids, Lori? Lori, tell us where your kids are. And they're just not answering.
Yeah.
And it is insane to see it because hindsight is 20/20. It's very easy going into this when you're like, I know those kids are dead.
Yeah.
But man, you're watching it and you're just like, just say where they are.
I know.
If they're safe and they're with somebody and you're protecting them and all this bullshit, just say where they are.
I know. She's like, you can tell she's
obvious.
She's devolving in a way where she can't make up any lies anymore.
Yeah.
Like she can't say anything to the press to like reassure them that they're okay. The video that was like very hard for me to watch, like those ones are awkward where the press are shoving microphones in her face, yelling about where the kids are, and she's not going to answer. But she actually gets pulled over. That's how they find her. She gets pulled over, and it shows the body camera footage of them giving her a warrant. Like there's a warrant,
a search warrant for her car too.
Yeah, there's a warrant for us to search your car and search you. Like there's a warrant out for you, and she looks at the paper. And she just, like, kind of shrugs. She, like, smiles and is like, well. And she doesn't say anything. And she's like, okay. Like.
Oh, it's so
creepy. And you're watching her and you're like, what are you, like.
I hate you so
You
much.
don't show anything in your face. You're just like, this is, like, an inconvenience. But, like, whatever.
It is.
Like.
Yeah, it is crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So then they go to court. And they're doing their preliminary trial kind of stuff, like where you kind of figure out your bail and all this kind of shit.
This is where she's wearing the orange and white.
Yeah, she's
striped.
And she has like weird makeup on, is how Colby described it.
That, yeah,
Colby describes like weird makeup and like she painted it on. Dude, her and Chad's not arrested at this point. That's
no,
important.
He's not. He's in the crowd. He's
he's behind her in the audience or whatever of the courtroom. I don't know what they call it, Excuse me. And she only makes eye contact with him, not her family. Colby's there. Other family are there. Only makes eye contact with Chad. And that sends Colby off. He's freaking out. He's like, how you've known this guy for how long, and you're
looking to him for comfort.
You're in this type of situation that is high stress, and he's the one who brings you comfort and all this stuff. And then she gets arraigned, and like they give her $1 million bond, which is very interesting. They gave her a bond at all because she's run away so many times and all these different things. No, it's bond. Bail.
You're saying bond?
I'm saying bond, but I've had a couple beers, so I'm saying bond.
Okay. Sorry, continue. Okay.
Anyway, I here's my note. Dang, bro. Colby eyeballing Chad is a gangster move.
That clip gave me goosebumps. I got goosebumps while I was laying down.
It was insane.
He literally like walks out of the courtroom and he goes, and I turned and I looked him right in the eye, and it shows him like walking out, like, and he looks big, like he's a big guy.
Yeah,
Colby.
he's big.
And he looks right at him.
player.
And while he's narrating it, Colby is like, and he looked scared. Like he looked
And he
like
does look scared.
he
and
looked
they
scared in his seat.
put it in slow motion where
Yeah.
Colby's just like, as he's walking out, he's just like,
Yep, and he gives him this look, and he says, like, I wanted to punch him right in the face.
ooh,
Like-
it was intense.
Yep.
Then, fucking Colby makes some calls to the
Jail where Lori is
and
being
stuff
held,
like that.
and they're recorded
And
calls.
She
You can hear 'em.
she brings up Abraham and Isaac, an age-old Bible story, which I think is a story that gives me less faith, not more faith. It makes it seem crazy. It
don't
makes
know
the
that
whole
story.
scene seem like a fucking cult. The whole thing is Abraham, he has a son. His son's name is Isaac, and God tells him, listen, if you believe in me and you believe that my word is correct, kill your son.
Yikes.
And Abraham's like, what do you mean? I can't kill my son. He's like, oh, then you don't believe in me. You don't think that my word is correct, that I am the all-powerful God and creator and blah, 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 blah. And, okay, you don't believe in me then. And he's like, no, God, I believe in you. And he's like, well, then kill your son. And then Abraham eventually goes, takes a knife and goes to kill his son. And as he, like, draws the blade and starts to bring it down, God's like, okay, don't kill your son. You've proven yourself.
This is a horrible story.
It's a horrible story.
Ugh.
You can twist it however you want. That's a shit story. I'm sorry.
terrible.
Not sorry. But anyway, then the grandma gives the interview.
So, is the reason for bringing up Abraham and Isaac her comparing herself to Abraham?
It's her, yeah, in a way, yes.
But God never said, like, never mind, don't kill your children?
It's her saying, because, like you had mentioned before, it's like, God told me to do it, so it's okay.
Okay.
Because God is almighty, so who am I to question him?
Okay.
So if God told me to shoot you in the face, I have to shoot you in the face.
Those
because God told me to do
conversations
it.
that
And
they
that's
let us-
insane.
Those conversations that they let us listen to between Colby and his
my
mom
God.
are really, really infuriating because he's talking to her with such emotion and, like, he's so upset and he's like, I don't understand how this could be happening, like, how you could do this, like, you raised us in religion and, like, you're not being a woman of Christ, you're being psycho.
He
like,
keeps saying, like, you need to turn to Christ.
all
like,
this
you
stuff.
need to get
And
your shit back
he's
together.
so desperate and she's like, you don't understand. You don't understand. She's like so calm. She's like, you don't get it.
is
Like, you don't. Like, it
infuriating.
makes, like, if I was him, I would want to go to the jail and I'd want to be in the same room with her and I'd want to, like, grab her by her shirt and be like, what is happening? Like,
Yeah.
give me
Tell me
emotion.
then.
Like,
If
where are you?
If I don't understand, tell me.
Yeah.
Make me understand.
Yeah.
She's an idiot. And anyway, I think this is when the grandma actually gives the interview where she's like, I don't think that they're missing. I think blah, 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 blah. Because I think that because of the note that I wrote.
Okay.
I wrote, the grandma is a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
If the kids are safe, then just say where they are.
Right.
You
How can you-
denying loser.
how
She's
can you-
so consumed by denial of the whole thing, which, like, from like a psychological standpoint and all these different things, like, I get it. Like, I really do. Excuse me. But I also don't get it.
Yeah.
I genuinely, I don't know. I've seen it go different ways with different serial killers and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see it go different ways all the time where sometimes the family members of the serial killer or school shooter or whatever the fuck it is are like listen, he had a hard life. Like, you
Right.
don't understand. Or, I don't think he did it. I think these are all rumors, and he'll prove his innocence.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you see somebody just going, well, fuck him.
Yeah. Well,
Fuck this guy.
I think it's really hard because I think
Excuse me.
in a lot of instances where, like, you're talking about the family of someone who committed murders,
Yeah.
a lot of the time they're like, oh, well, when he was 12, he killed our neighbor's cat, and then he peed on the lady down the street, and then
Right.
he wet his bed all the time, and he did, murder a bunch of our
Yeah.
dogs, and he drowned our dog that one time. Like, there's a lot of stuff like that, and you're like, okay, there were some signs that we missed.
Yeah,
like,
big time.
but with her, it was like, there was none of that. She was,
It's true. It's
she
true.
was normal.
She was never violent.
Yeah.
She never showed any signs of violence.
Yeah.
She did show signs of delusion and
She did,
like
for
some
sure.
serious stuff that she should have been in, like, some hardcore mental health facilities and stuff like that. But anyway, my next note is just me taking a swipe at the grandma again.
Mm-hmm.
She looks like a melted candle.
She does look like a melted candle.
Anyway, moving on.
Very accurate.
I wrote that these cops probably could have prevented a lot of this because I was mad at them for it. Some of it is just the way that a crime documentary happens. They show you these text messages as they're happening.
Yeah.
So the entire idea that you guys didn't figure this shit out sooner, just it makes me want to put blame on you.
I
And
know.
that may be fair. That may be not fair.
Yeah.
It's how I feel.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm reading notes. Interesting that all these self-appointed prophets end up dead or in jail. And then this is towards the end of episode 3, the end of the entire documentary. My notes take big jumps at this point. They just found the remains.
Okay. So there in
Arrested Chad.
in the documentary, there is a recorded conversation between Lori and Chad. And Lori's like, hey, babe, how are you? And he's like, not good. And she's like, what's wrong? And he's like,
The cops are searching the
the
yard.
cops are searching the yard. And she's like, okay, well, are they in the house? And he's like, nope, but they're searching the yard. And she's like, okay, well,
I guess we'll see what transpires.
that's what he says. He says, I guess we'll see what transpires, which is like,
You know.
why would you say that?
You know what's what. You know that they're there. And then
Yeah.
they show a text that he had sent Tammy, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think it was
Which
Tammy.
I don't get. He says, like, it's about him searching for, like, the guy who shot at her or something. Like, he's like, I went to look around the house.
He says that he needed to start a fire in the backyard.
Yeah.
To burn some dead branches.
He says limbs. He says,
does
I
say
needed to
limbs,
burn
but
the limbs.
I know. It is an
Which is
interesting
like-
choice of words. But I took that as branches.
Ugh.
Before the storm comes in. Oh, also, I saw a raccoon, went in the house, grabbed my gun, got it in one shot. Good times.
We'll add it to the pet cemetery.
We'll add it to the pet cemetery.
Yep.
So then they start checking. They start digging where the
In
pet
his
cemetery is.
Pet cemetery, which is creepy AF. Sorry if you have one, but I don't like it.
No,
it's bad vibes
so
all around.
fucking weird.
Yeah.
And then that's where they start finding human remains and stuff like that.
So
the
sad.
Prison call between Colby and Lori. Holy shit! I could never speak to her again.
So emotional.
He's straight up. Raven kind of already touched on it, but he's straight up going, "You were supposed to protect my siblings. You fucking murder." He doesn't curse because he's still pretty religious.
Yeah.
But like he transitioned from like Mormon to like non-denominational kind of Christian.
Yeah.
And she hated that. Like
Yeah.
she hated Kelsey, his wife.
Yeah, she did.
Because of all this different stuff. Plus she had those weird like Oedipus sort of vibes, but like reverse
Yes.
Oedipus, where like she was like,
She didn't want
I don't
anyone-
like any other woman
any other
getting
woman.
close to my son,
Yep.
which is so gross.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah, they play a lot of phone calls between Colby, the oldest son,
Lori.
and Lori, who's in prison.
Mm-hmm.
And man, it is frustrating because it's just like Raven said. Everything Colby says, Lori just responds kind of half-heartedly with just like, you don't understand. Like, you don't know everything.
Yeah,
You
and
don't know all the information.
And he's like, they're dead. Like,
Yeah,
what
like,
do you mean
they're
they're
murdered?
They're
They were
fucking
killed.
dead.
Like, why were they killed then? Like, just tell me that. And it's very frustrating.
It's frustrating because at one point she says, like, I miss them too, Colby. And he's like, what do you mean you miss them? Like, you can't say you miss them.
Yeah, like you killed them.
You killed them. You fucking killed them.
Or
like,
you facilitated their murder at the very least. But yeah, it's insane. Then we move on to some court stuff, like the actual trial, specifically against Chad.
Yeah, because Chad gets arrested when they find their remains.
Yeah, and this is also kind of preliminary stuff.
Yeah.
Because they, at this point of the documentary, they haven't even been indicted.
Right.
They're just charged.
They're just being
so
held.
It's still, all kinds of stuff. And I wrote, this is when they bring the friend who started the podcast, who they said, oh, JJ's with this friend.
She's a witness.
They bring her on as a witness. And I just wrote, wow, it's wild to think that Mormons, who are already pretty crazy, can be like, yo, Lori and Chad, they're actually crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that's so interesting to me.
There's different levels of crazy.
And then I just wrote, the whole zombie thing is fucking insane. Then I wrote, and this is the question of the age, the age-old question, the philosophical, existential question of this entire story and crime. Is it possible that they weren't exactly as crazy as they seem, and they're just cold-blooded murderers?
Okay, this is why before I said that they were red herrings, which they're... If you think that they're not actually crazy and all they wanted was to ditch their baggage, aka children that they didn't want to take care of, and go like live their lavish lifestyle where he cheats people out of money by being this fake priest,
right?
Then like a lot of their religion stuff could be like throwing them off the trail. Like, let them make me think I'm not suitable to stand trial. Let me make them think that I'm crazy and I didn't do this just because fuck those kids.
I don't know. It's so interesting. I remember when this came
not.
out and everything, and the whole idea of like not knowing what was what. But anyway, I have to pee, so we're gonna wrap up this podcast really quick. Okay, so just really quickly, she gets considered not mentally competent to stand trial, but eventually she does. Chad pleads not guilty to all charges. Oh my god, I have to pee so bad. They get charged with murder. I hate Clayface Grandma so much. Now they have trials in 2023, and it's for the death penalty. All right?
Okay.
Fantastic. I need you to be so fast right now.
Why don't you go and I'll wrap it up? So, at the end of the documentary, it essentially says that Lori and Chad are both being held in jail, and they're going to face trial in January of 2023 to see if they were guilty of murdering the children or not, because JJ and Tylee, rest in peace, they both were dead, unfortunately, which is so sad. But so that's where it stands in January 2023. We'll see what happens if they're found guilty. Yeah, it's really sad, but it's a very good documentary. We highly recommend it on behalf of Jesse and I. This is the end of this episode, and we'll see you next time when we talk about something else.